Does your child reach for things they want, or maybe just take your hand and bring you to what they want? A common concern that I hear from parents is that their child does this, but they don't actually point intentionally to communicate. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can teach your child to actually point to what they want or to identify something. This is an important developmental milestone as it helps them communicate needs, direct attention, and start interacting with the world around them. Pointing is one of the very first ways that babies communicate. It's how they say, "I see that," or "I want that," without using words. When your baby points, they're learning how to share attention, make requests, and even start social interactions. So encouraging this behavior early on can really help support their overall communication skills. And the good news is that there are several strategies and activities you can use to encourage pointing in a fun and natural way. I'm Gabrielle, and as a pediatric speech language pathologist, I want to help you help your child connect with you and the world around them to grow into the person that they are meant to be. So first of all, it's important to know that the ability for your child to point to communicate to you relies on two other skills, which are one, fine motor skills to isolate that one little finger, and two, the ability to share an attention with you, which is what we call joint attention. You might be wondering when your baby will start pointing. Babies usually begin pointing between 10 and 15 months, and when children should be meeting milestones is one of the most frequently asked questions that I get from parents. So that is why I made a roadmap of communication development, all the way from 6 months to 5 years old. You can get that for free in the description below so you can see the big picture of your child's development all the way up to when your child is entering kindergarten. So now back to pointing. This is going to be like a crash course masterclass on teaching a child to point, so make sure you get ready to pay attention. And here we go. It's important to note that at first, a child may just point to things that catches their eye or things that they want, not necessarily pointing to things that you name. For example, if you say point to the zebra, they're much less likely to do something like that. Even if they know what the zebra is, they're less likely to use this skill for something that they're not very motivated to engage with, versus things that they are super interested in, like a car or a baby doll or something like that. So this is perfectly normal, and this is something that you can actually use to their advantage when you're trying to help them learn the skill to actually point with their finger. When you're helping your child learn to point, you always want to keep in mind what they're naturally interested in, rather than just pointing to an airplane or zebra, like I said in my example before, and saying, "Look, airplane," or "Look, zebra," or looking through a board book and asking them, "Where's the zebra?" or whatever happens to be on that page. Showing them the act of pointing to just about anything and everything in your daily environment is something that you're going to want to do to help teach them this skill. You're also going to want to ask them where are certain things on a board book, for example, or in their environment, to again model pointing for them. However, just know that it is perfectly normal if at first they're just wanting to reach for and point to objects that they are interested in. So make sure to know that this is normal and to emphasize the things that they are very, very interested in when you're teaching this skill. There are some specific strategies that you can use to help teach this skill. The first one is you're going to model pointing all the time. You want to demonstrate pointing as a model for your little one, whether you're pointing at an object, a person, or something in your environment. So make sure to point with clear, exaggerated movements and use your finger to indicate things like toys, pictures, or even places in nature. Point all day and attach it to a particular word, like look, watch, or see. Doesn't matter which one that you choose, but just use a consistent word because this may help your child pick up the skill of pointing a little more quickly. So just like you've probably heard the advice that you want to narrate what's going on in your environment for your child and talk to them, this is what you're going to want to do, but you're also going to pair and attach pointing with it. So as you're labeling things in your child's environment, you can go ahead and start pointing to it as well. Children often learn by imitating. When they see you pointing, they are more likely to try it themselves. So when you are modeling pointing, don't start with faraway objects. Make the visual field much smaller first. So again, I wouldn't start out with something super far away, like an airplane in the sky or something across the street or even something across the room. Instead, bring it to your child's level and put a preferred toy in front of them while pointing to it. So if you chose to use the word look, then this would look like look, baby, look, baby. I just want to reinforce how helpful it will be to make sure you're using engaging objects. Sometimes when you are wanting to help your child learn something new, learn a new skill like pointing, for example, it's easy to think you need to get all new materials, all new toys, and just completely start with something fresh. But actually, that blanket or teddy bear that they have been attached to from day one could just be the most useful item to teach them a new skill. So use items that they are already interested in. Pointing to communicate is a social gesture that relies on social communication skills, which means your child understands that you are both paying attention to the same thing and you're enjoying it together. So you want to build off of things that they already attach that understanding to, like a favorite toy. Show your child something interesting like a toy, a book, or even their favorite blanket or stuffed animal. You can even hold it out of their reach and then point to it to encourage them to follow your gesture. This helps children understand that pointing is a way to draw attention to something or to express a desire. It also helps them connect the action of pointing to the object of interest. When you're modeling this act of pointing, you can also give the child two choices and show them pointing to each one. Point to each one when you name it. For example, do you want the baby, or the duck? You want to give them lots of wait time when you're doing this to see if they give you a response. So they might just reach for both, and this is common, but at least you've shown them once more and give them yet another opportunity for that skill of pointing to emerge. Children need so many opportunities. This is why we always are saying make sure you repeat little things like pointing, new gestures that you want them to learn, or repeat words that you want them to learn. I really can't emphasize enough the importance of showing your child pointing over and over again if you want them to do it too. And why is this so important, you might ask? This helps children understand that pointing is a way to draw attention to something or to express a desire. It also helps them connect the action of pointing to the object or the person of interest. Okay, so the next tool that you can use to help your child learn to point is bubbles. And I'm sure that your child would be very grateful that I gave you this tip, because if you have not used bubbles with your child, this is your sign to start using them, because little ones absolutely love bubbles. Some people think that bubbles are for older kids who are old enough to blow them themselves and then run around popping the bubbles, but this could not be further from the truth, because toddlers and even babies love bubbles. They're just mesmerized by them. They love to look up and see them, and then the next thing you know, they're reaching to pop the bubbles themselves. This strategy is one that your child is sure to love. Bubbles are an excellent tool for promoting communication skills, and I'm going to tell you how. Bubbles are great for teaching pointing since they naturally capture your child's attention and can motivate them to reach out and express their interest. Pointing is a social gesture, and using bubbles can turn it into a shared activity where you both focus on the same object, reinforcing this concept of joint attention where you and your child are both attending to and interested in the same object. Also, you naturally point your finger when you pop bubbles, so it's a great way that you can encourage your toddler's pointing skills that is so naturally rewarding and motivating for them. Bubbles are visually stimulating and capture a child's attention, making it easier for them to focus on the activity. The bubbles are moving constantly, they float around and then they disappear all of a sudden. And all of this just naturally sparks your child's curiosity and can encourage your child to engage and to point. You can either use a bubble wand or a bubble machine. A bubble machine makes lots and lots of bubbles, which sometimes gets their attention a little more if they need help with paying attention to the game and engaging with you. And it also gives many more opportunities to pop the bubbles by pointing. As the bubbles appear, point to the bubbles in the air and say, "Look, bubbles!" or whichever word you have chosen to go with pointing. This models the action of pointing and shows your child what you're focusing on. Show them how you pop the bubbles with your finger. Really try to face your child when you do this. So sometimes as parents or caregivers, it's easy to be behind the child, whether you're reading a book or doing some sort of play or even doing bubbles. But this is your reminder to make sure that you're face to face with your little one, get on their level and get in front of them when you're modeling popping the bubbles. Teach turn taking by saying, "My turn," and then you show them popping the bubbles. They may already try to copy you, but then you can say, "Your turn." And if they aren't trying to pop the bubbles yet, you can take their little finger and help them pop. Then do it again and again. "My turn," pop the bubbles. Then say, "Your turn," take their little finger and pop, pop, pop. Every time your child points, even if it's just a small gesture or reach, like you can tell they're trying to pop the bubbles, you can offer them lots and lots of praise. This could sound like, "Yay, you're pointing to the bubbles." This positive reinforcement helps to encourage them to want to do it again and again. You can also play a game called Where's the Game if your child has receptive language, meaning they understand what many different words and objects are, while also showing them what you expect by modeling pointing for them. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, you can also then ask your baby to point to things like, "Where's the ball?" or "Where's the dog?" You can make it even more exciting by using pictures in books or real objects. This is a great way to engage your baby and make pointing part of their everyday routine. Play games that involve finding or locating objects. For example, hold up a toy and ask, "Where's the ball?" or "Where's the car?" Then point to the object you're referring to. You can say, "Can you point to the dog?" while showing a picture or pointing to a real dog. And again, these games help to reinforce the concept of pointing as a way of identifying things and getting attention. Again, this really just gives the child lots of opportunities for developing their skill of pointing. The next strategy is you can also play social games and songs to draw their attention to pointing. This is one of my personal favorites. You know the song, "I'm Bringing Home My Baby Bumblebee"? It goes like, "I'm bringing home my baby bumblebee." Okay, now that I've jogged your memory, you know what I'm talking about. We're all on the same page here. I really love that song, and I'm going to show you how you can modify it a little to highlight this skill of pointing for your little one. Now, you could absolutely have a pretend bumblebee, whether it's a stuffed animal, one of those little finger puppets that you can stick on your finger. They make those like a little bee that you could have on your finger. Could be any toy that's a bee, really. But you could also just do this with pretend play, because I want you to understand it's not really about the materials and the items that you have for your child. It's about how you're interacting with them. So while this would be even better with a true bee in the interaction, you can also do it with just your finger, because your little one is just learning to pay attention to you and interact with you when they are learning to point. So you could do it just like this. I'm bringing home my baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I'm bringing home my baby bumblebee. Ouch! It bit me. Uh-oh. One little finger, one little finger, one little finger. Ouch! 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 Blow a little kiss. Mwah! Blow a little kiss. Mwah! Blow a little kiss. Mwah! 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 So I hope you see how so much attention was brought to the finger and pointing the finger, all the while doing things that draw your little one's attention and engagement through singing, through the tone in your voice, through having words that repeat over and over again, and also by having things that kind of surprise them, like, oh no, uh-oh, I got bit. Having engaging gestures like blowing a kiss. All of those things draw your little one's attention and help them engage with you. This sets them up in the perfect situation to learn a new skill, such as pointing, because their focus is on you through everything you did. And what are you doing? You're pointing with your finger. So this helps them learn to copy you. Let's learn even another strategy. So the next one that everyone probably knows is peekaboo, but I'm going to tell you how you can do peekaboo to help your little one learn to point. You can encourage your child to point during playful activities. For example, after hiding under a blanket, you can reappear and point to yourself, showing your child pointing to yourself with a big smile saying, "Here I am." And then you can do it with their favorite toys. You can put their toy under the blanket and say, "Where's baby?" And then uncover the baby and say, "Here she is. Look, baby," or whatever word you have chosen. Kids absolutely love this, and it gives you a chance to model this new skill for them while you have their attention. Playful moments like these can make the act of pointing feel fun and spontaneous, which can increase your child's desire to use it. That is the real key. And lastly, we also want to keep in mind that pointing, isolating that one index finger from the rest, and using it to identify something specific is a fine motor skill. So some fine motor skill activities will only support your child's ability to do this. Let's talk about some sensory play, which helps your child's fine motor skills. Allowing your baby to touch, move, smear, pick up, and slide different shapes and textures such as Cheerios, yogurt, or even edible paints will help move along their fine motor skills. Another example is those touch and feel books that can also be helpful. You can take their finger and have them feel the different textures. Pointing is a combination of a child's fine motor skill development and their social communication development. So once you see them begin to do this, It's a great way to see just how much they're growing, little by little. If tips like these on helping your child develop through their milestones is something that you want to learn more about, please hit the bell icon to subscribe so you don't miss any new updates. And don't forget to get your roadmap of communication from birth to 5 years old for free down in the description below. Before you go, please type down below what types of words you are practicing with your child and what you're doing to engage with your little one. Let me know what you'd like to learn more about so I can make more resources just like this for you and your family.